The first improvement or need that we have at Wright Elementary, and I know this is going to come as a shock to some of you, but we would like a drop-off lane in front of our school. Not only the drop-off lane, the need is evident just because we have no off-street parking at all for guests. Our staff parking lot is full, so there's no room for guests to park there. It impedes the access to handicap parking as well. We have one handicap spot that they just have to kind of pull up to on the street. And then we have no covered shelter for our students when they are waiting to be picked up.
You should try delivering flowers there on Valentine's Day during the Valentine's parties.
Well, our
Park about 6 blocks with your deliveries.
Yeah, our parking is, and this will not solve the problem when we have parties and, lots of guests on our campus, but definitely will solve the handicap problem. The pickup and drop off, the traffic, I don't know if y'all have ever driven down 17th or, not 17th, but driven down Grinnell. You come off 15th, the cars are wrapped around. The street is mayhem. And we can stand out there in orange cones and bright green vests, and it's still just, the street is very, very unsafe. The first picture there is a picture of a patio that exists already. On the front end of our school, there's a brick wall in front of it and one very large bush. But that would be the perfect spot for covered shelter if we were just to extend that almost like a carport, just something that they can stand out of the rain, out of the snow. But it would back up or butt up against the drop-off lane, so it would be very easily accessed for kids to get in and out of their cars. The second picture is just a picture of the length from where we would stop the drop-off lane. The engineer that I spoke to previously did a Google Earth estimation there and said we could do about a 400-foot drop-off lane. And this is concrete, not asphalt. And it would be the width of, he said you could comfortably fit 2 Suburbans through the drop-off lane, so it would be plenty wide. And then the third picture is a picture of me literally standing in our handicap parking spot. This is where the kids load their cars in the afternoon. And this was not a torrential rainfall. This was about 15 to 20 minutes of rain one afternoon. And it was really, really cold. But our teachers all own tall rain boots because when it rains or snows, we have to pick our kids up and carry them across the street. Mrs. Hale almost disappears in that puddle, so it's not.
Maker?
But we just.
I don't care. His camera is running.
That is ramp access, but the water is just as deep there on all along the side. It runs down to Brownlee Pit. It does run off very quickly, but if it rains any time during drop-off or close to pickup time, it's just a nightmare. The estimated cost for the project of approximately 400 feet of concrete drop-off and parking is about $250,000. It's a big project, but it's a huge safety issue for us. Okay. Are you clicking here, or am I clicking?
I can click.
Okay.
If you want.
Okay. Our next slide is additional office space. The last slide, you can kind of look, I put a campus map in there, but additional office space, currently the office space on our campus is spread out all over the campus. When you come to visit our campus, our office is very small. It houses 2 secretaries and a PINS administrator, PINS clerk, in the front main office. That's all that fits there. The area that is under the roof in front of the main office can be made into additional office space to house my office, other administrator's office, our counselor, possibly a conference room, and our nurse access in that office area. It would not impede the flow of traffic through the safety doors that are currently there. They came and installed our buzzer in our door last week. So our safety door installation is all but completed when we get the right coat of paint on there. So estimated cost of $100,000, possibly less. I am not a contractor, obviously, we talked about it briefly, but it is under roof already. it would also help to solve the problem of that plate glass that's all along the front of our school, which is broken quite often with weed. Of course, there's a weed eater in that picture, but weed eaters throw rocks. We have a broken window right now that caught a rock from a weed eater in the courtyard, and the glass that they have to replace it with is still so fragile that it broke when they were putting it in. So it would eliminate a lot of that glass hazard at the front if we were to insulate that with a different double pane glass. Okay, next slide, our perimeter fence. And I probably should have put this as our first priority. A perimeter fence around our playground is the top priority for us. It is a pressing need. We need approximately 1,060 linear feet of 4-foot chain link fence. We need multiple access points to the bus lane from the playground. The current fencing that we have right now is a broken up bus entry. There's a piece on the outside of the bus lane. There's this short piece that runs. That second photo there is the beginning of the fencing that runs from there just to the corner. It doesn't run across. If you've ever been out, these pictures are of our kiddos and how close they are to the exterior of our playground when they're playing soccer, when they're running around multiple times at recess. And we have 5 recess sessions a day. Balls are across the street. And with the staff that we have, the kids go running they can't get there in time. With 150 kids out there, our entire staff can't get there in time to keep the kids from running out to get their ball. They just don't think about it. Several of our community members have called me and said how they fear for our kiddos who don't think about running after playground equipment that ends up getting away from them. It's a flat safety issue. We have people walk up and down that playground all the time. Parents can drive up or anyone actually, but parents have before driven up into the bus lane and tried to pick their kids up off of the playground. We have the juggler guy was around our campus repeatedly in the fall, just walking onto the playground with our kids, and it's a real danger. It's not going to stop them if they really want to come on, but it will impede them for an adult to get there to address it. That's probably one of the most pressing needs that we have. We did get from Matthew Cates a preliminary estimate of somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000 for that fence. And something that we need to think about for that fence when we look at the next slide, our playground blacktop or play surface. It was asphalt at one point. I don't know what it is now. But if we look at addressing the blacktop, we need to think about the fence and make sure that we have access, not just for the bus lane, but for trucks coming in and out, because we wouldn't want to tear down a fence that we just put up, so we would need to think about that. Possibly maybe putting in a large open fence or gate. But our playground blacktop is in terrible disrepair. The second picture is just one of the cracks. There are cracks all over the playground. The roofing project in that first picture you can see there to the left, the roofing project took care of getting us all new downspouts, which is really nice because in many places we didn't have them. But that particular downspout is located right at the exit door. As you can see, kind of a reverse picture in the third picture, it's the exit door where all of our kids enter and exit for recess. And with the slightest bit of water, without the downspout, that was a mud pit. With the downspout there, it's going to be a direct filler for that puddle. I mean, it's going, and it just sits there. At some point, that third picture, there was something wrong there there was something sticking up or something, and a former teacher just bought 4 bags of Quikrete and set it there and tore the paper off. And that's what the kids have been using for a barrier for what, I don't even know what it was. It's in such disrepair you can't even tell. But those are actually, they're in the shape of a bag of Quikrete, you can tell. They just sit there on our playground. Our sidewalks, as you can see, they're very narrow and they're breaking. And it's a big issue for us simply because our kids are out there, like I said, 5 recess sessions. They are out there to load buses. They are picking up rocks, throwing rocks. They fall all the time. It impedes outdoor recess even with the slightest bit of inclement weather because those areas are so bad. If we had a hard surface for them to play on, even with snow on the ground, we could go out there. If we could, clear it off some, they could be outside if the weather was warm enough. So we have way too much indoor recess for our kiddos. But it could be, we have talked to the people that built the playground previously 7 years ago. They can do a sport court surface. They can give us a quote on that, probably for about the same price as we could re-asphalt the entire surface, because the entire surface it needs to be demolished. There's nothing that is remotely savable about that surface. And it's just really horrible. The last slide is basically just a compilation of all of the 4 things that I just talked about. New play surface out there, it would go beyond, the fence would go around the play surface and the playground equipment. Our drop-off lane, our parking, the covered shelter area, future office space, and the highlighted yellow areas are where the offices are located. Currently, my office is in the middle of the hallway across from the music room. Our counselor's office is at the far end, in between the computer labs. And our behavior specialist, what was our assistant principal's office, is around the corner. You have to walk into the hall and walk around the corner to access that office. And the nurse is not accessible from the main office. So this is just kind of a visual of where we would want things to go be put.